Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Glad you're with us today. If the first time joining us, welcome. Glad you could be here. I know folks from all over the world tune in, and that's always cool. I like to think that people all over the world are tuning in. If you're new to the show, the way this works is we do two 24-minute segments. I will talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, we're on multiple platforms right now, have any health question, just type your health question into the platform. Garrett and John, my producers, will then read me the questions at the 24-minute break. I'll answer your health questions. Then we'll do another 24-minute segments. I'll answer some more questions for you. So it's a great opportunity for you to get some health questions shared because we're finding this format works really well because people have health questions and they don't know where to turn. And every day, never fails, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, people say, Dr. Joe, I have such and such issue, and I don't know who to talk to. I spoke to blank. I spoke to this doctor, that doctor. I don't know where to turn. And hopefully we have an answer for you, something that might be a new insight into your issue. So it's a great opportunity. If you're listening live, please put in hashtag live right now. If you're listening on a replay, put in hashtag replay. That lets the bots of the world know who's listening and where, and not you personally, but who's listening to this show. So hashtag live, hashtag replay. I guess I'm ready to go whenever you are, Garrett. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I'm glad you're with me today. We're going to talk today about the side effects of taking supplements and multivitamins because I want you to understand what happens when you take these things. And if I have time, I'll cover some medications that actually can deplete your body of nutrients and you don't know about it. A good example is just this week, I was talking to a patient and she had all these symptoms. And I said, gosh, it sounds like classic low vitamin D. And she looked at me and her eyes lit up. She goes, oh, my God, I just got back from my doctor a couple of days ago. And he said I have almost no vitamin D in my body. How did you know that? Well, you just know this is how the body works. It was pretty simple. I have other patients that are taking certain medications, let's say something for acid reflux. And if you're taking acid reflux medications, a lot of those medications prevent you from properly absorbing calcium, B12, iron, and magnesium. Well, gosh, yeah, doc, I am anemic. Well, gosh, doc, I am low in B vitamins. Gosh, doc, I'm tired all the time. So people are blown away when we discuss this with them. And the reason is this, that the average healthcare professional is not trained in nutrition. And that's okay. That's not what they do. That's what I do. That's what we do together. So I talk to my surgeon friends. And every time we get together, the conversation always comes around, hey, Joe, I had this case, but what would you do for a case like this? I'm not a surgeon. I don't know how to do surgery. But I know how to get the body healthy around the other issues. And so that's why it's so important that you do understand what happens when you take supplements or don't take supplements and what you can do to resolve a lot of the issues. So vitamins and supplements, great way for your body to get the nutrients that it needs when you can't get it through diet. Now, I always love that statement because I eat a really good diet. And I'm plant-based. I eat a lot of raw foods. I eat a lot of organic foods. I grow a lot of my own foods. And still, I take supplementation. So the average person, there is no way, and I'm going to cover that in a little bit, there's no way the average person is getting at least even the minimum nutrients that they need, not to thrive, but to survive. So in a perfect world, we would consume fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, raw foods, have no stress, the air would be clean, the water would be clean, your work environment would have no toxicity in it, either physical or emotional or chemical, and all that would be great. But we don't live in a real world right now. So I want to supply your body with the nutrients that it needs. And even if you ate all perfect food, you had this perfect world, the soil has been depleted over the years with factory farming, growing the same crop over and over again and not rotating crops. So there's a lot of reasons why the food supply is not what it used to be. You're not getting nearly the same amount of nutrients in an apple that you did 30 years ago. And because of that, it's affecting so many aspects. For example, statistically speaking, my testosterone level at my age is half of what my grandfather's was at his age, statistically speaking. So we're really blowing up our environment and our society, and we can fight that. There's ways to get around that, which is really kind of cool. Now, sometimes you need a quick, easy boost to your health. Multivitamin, great way to do it. But let's talk about what happens when you take a supplement and what are good supplements, what are bad supplements. Everybody asks me the same thing. Yeah. So before we start this whole thing, let's define the National Institute of Health. What is a supplement? It contains a combination of vitamins and minerals, often in quantities close to your recommended daily allowance. So there's a definition from the big bosses. Taking supplements is not a substitute for a good diet. It's not instead of a good diet, it's in addition to a good diet. So don't think that you can just take supplements and do whatever the heck you want. Doesn't work that way. We did a show a while ago. We were talking about weight loss, which is more important, diet or exercise. And I said you can't outrun your fork. You cannot outrun what you're eating. So you can't work out 5 hours a day and then go out and eat, chicken wings. Doesn't work that way. And so a supplement is just that. It supplements a good diet. Now, you want to have healthier hair, skin, nails, look young? There's a supplement for that. Like I said, there's an app for that and a supplement for that. So it's possible to do a lot of these things with the right supplements. We'll call them multivitamins at this point. Now, some multivitamins contain things like specifically for hair and nails, biotin, vitamin E, zinc. That can promote healthy hair and nails. Now, biotin, for example, it's essential for maintaining the tissues that often multivitamins are targeted toward improving. So they put it in there for specific reasons. Now, I don't like the idea of taking a specific supplement just for hair and a specific supplement just for this. I like the idea of putting it all together. Because what I've learned in my 40 years of research is that things work synergistically. There's a big word for you. Synergistically. They work together to give you the best results. So, for example, vitamin C and copper and iron all are related to each other. And taking one without the other, you may not get the best bang for your buck. So vitamin E is an antioxidant, protects your cells from damage. Zinc supports the proteins necessary for hair and nails, but that's why I like to put things together. Because individually, it's not, the sum is greater than the total of its parts. Is that what that's the phrase I'm looking for. So putting it all together works a lot better. So don't say, well, listen, I'm going to take zinc because I want to build up my immune system. Well, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, B vitamins are important for that. So there's a lot of things that work synergistically. That's why I like putting it all together in a group. Now, there are certain supplements I take individually, but usually for a multivitamin, I like to take it all at once. I take Dr. Joe's Essential Source. I don't know why you're not taking it. If you're not, you should. It's the minimum supplement you need every single day. There's over 72 new ingredients in it. So it's a powder. It tastes great. I take a scoop of that. I also add it with a scoop of Essential Source. With Super Greens, because Super Greens has chlorella and spirulina in it, and that helps detoxify the liver and clean out the liver, along with omega-3 fatty acids and its iodine to help the thyroid work. So I formulated Super Greens and Essential Source to be a really simple, easy, inexpensive way to start the minimum supplements that you need. They're on my website, drjoe.com. Now, a lot of people come to me, and they say, Dr. Joe, I'm tired all the time. So tired. I wonder if I have anemia. Well, I'm going to give you a twist on anemia you've never heard before unless you listen to this show. Fairly common. It's caused by blood not producing enough healthy red blood cells. Iron deficiency anemia specifically developed for not having adequate amounts of iron in your body. And then there's other pernicious anemia. The cells aren't big enough to carry oxygen properly. So different types of anemia. But the one you think about most likely, I'm guessing, is I don't have enough iron in my diet. And you're taking iron supplements and you're eating foods that are high in iron. You're eating meat, you're eating liver, you're eating plant-based foods like red beans and green leafy vegetables. Still can't get the iron up. One of two things I want you to look at. Number one, consider that you're bleeding internally. So if you have gastrointestinal issues, stomach pain, if you're bleeding internally, you're building up the blood, but then you're bleeding it out. And that could be a very, very serious issue. A much more common issue when it comes to anemia is that you have enough iron. Your body's just not using it because you need copper, make it simple, to free it up from the cells and put it back into the blood. So oftentimes, it's a copper deficiency, not an iron deficiency. And now if you throw more iron at it, you're going to build up more iron in the cells, and that becomes actually really dangerous. Because too much iron in the cell, the iron can oxidize, essentially rust. Like you see a piece of metal rusting, that's the iron rusting. And that can become a very serious issue because when you oxidize, you create something called free radicals. And free radicals are molecules that act like Pac-Man. They eat through things, waka, 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 waka. And they eat through things, and they can cause real serious damage to the cells, including even leading to things like cancer. So more iron may not be the answer. It may be that you need more copper. So something to consider there as well. And that's why taking a good multivitamin like Dr. Joe's Essential Source, you're going to get all these nutrients that work synergistically together to try to get you a much better result. Now, on a side note on blood, if you're a man or if you're a woman that's in menopause, past menopause, I believe that you should be donating blood in most cases. Now, sometimes you can't. I understand. Maybe it's cancer, thyroid disease, whatever. But if you can donate blood and you're a man or a postmenopausal woman, I think you should. Because we can have too much iron built up in our body, and too much iron is actually worse than not enough iron. You never heard that before, probably. And too much iron can actually lead to oxidation, which can actually increase the risk of heart disease. And this is one of the theories as to why men have more heart disease than women, although women are catching up to us. Not a good thing to catch up to us, by the way. So I donate blood about every 8 to 10 weeks. Every 8 weeks, you're eligible. I try, as soon as 8 weeks is up, I try to work it into my schedule, go donate blood. It takes about 45 minutes. I feel great when I donate blood. I just feel better. And it helps get any iron out of my body because my body, your body, doesn't have a way to get rid of iron. It has ways to get rid of viruses, germs, bacteria, vitamin C, vitamin B. It uses up things, but iron doesn't get really used up. Okay, it's just kind of a way to carry oxygen through the body. So you don't have a way to detoxify iron. So it's a really good idea to donate blood if you can. And I like doing it. I mean, I don't do it for the free cookies. I don't eat the cookies. And sometimes I'll give you a $10 gift certificate to wherever you want to go. Sometimes I'll give you a T-shirt. That doesn't motivate me. I do it because I want to keep myself healthy. It's one of my secrets of staying young, by the way. I want to keep myself healthy, and then somebody's going to score a really good pint of blood. I always think about that. I wonder who scored my blood. And how cool is that? And some surgeon is taking credit for doing great surgery when it really was my blood that let him heal. But I'm joking. So that's another reason why taking a good multivitamin is really important to your body. Now, the reason we take supplements is it tries to fill in the nutritional gap in our diet. We all have nutritional gaps. I don't know anyone or any diet that's going to give you everything that you need. Like a plant-based diet, for example. I eat plant-based. I haven't had any animal products in 38 years. I'm not asking you to do that. Don't freak out when you hear that. He's a weird dude, man. He doesn't eat animal products. It's okay. I'll still hang out with you. In fact, I have one other vegan friend. But I don't eat animal products because I understand what they do to the body. It's my choice. But if I'm not eating animal products, one of the nutrients that I'm missing is vitamin B12. So I take a B complex, which has vitamin B12 in it, every day. Now, that being said, most people over the age of 30 should be taking a B12 supplement because it's necessary. We don't use a whole lot. We only use a very small amount of B12. But you absorb it in your stomach. Let's assume you're eating meat. And the way B12 occurs, by the way, is the bacteria break down the carcass, the flesh, and they spit out B12 as a waste product. And so you eat it, it gets absorbed into your body. But as you get older, there's a nutrient, a chemical in your stomach that helps you absorb B12. And as we get older, those chemicals drop dramatically. And as those chemicals drop, you can't absorb B12 like you used to. So that's why it's a good idea. I think everybody over the age of 30 should be taking a B12 supplement. It just helps. But I think we should all be taking a lot of supplements, actually. So first thing, you want to eat a diet of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. That's going to give you a lot of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. Taking things like super greens and essential source, that's really going to fill in the gap for a lot of you. But about 70% of the American diet comes from processed and ultra-processed foods. I'll say that again. About 70% of the average American diet is processed and ultra-processed foods. They're calorie-dense, very low in vitamins, minerals, nutrients, fibers, phytochemicals, things like that. Dietary supplement can't erase the damage from the food you eat. You can't outrun your fork. But it can certainly get you moving in the direction you want to go in. So I can't imagine not taking a supplement if you have any concern whatsoever about your health. Every now and then, and we post a lot on social media, I'll post something and people say, well, I don't care. I'm going to eat my donuts and I don't care. Okay, that's another option. You can do that if you want to. And I can't tell you what to eat, what not to eat. I can just give you advice. and then you can decide what you want to do. But if you want to do that, hey, you only live once, go for the gold. Life is short. That's true. And that's one way to live your life. And if that's what you want to do, I support you 100%. But I don't want that. I want extreme health. Second book I ever wrote, A Prescription for Extreme Health. I want extreme health. And I know the things you need to do to get that. And it's really easy, and it's really quick, and it's really cheap, and it's really fun. The only problem is the bad food tastes good. That's it. That's the only thing preventing people from eating better. The bad food tastes good. Somebody posted the other day on one of my social media things, well, some of us can't afford the luxury of exotic health foods. Well, how about beans and rice? That's cheaper than fast food. So have beans and rice once a day. A lot of cultures do that. Once or twice a day, they eat beans and rice. So healthy food can be really cheap. Now, there are different levels of it, but at least the minimum would be plant-based diet. Lentils, split peas, beans, extremely inexpensive. Very, very good for you compared to meats and dairy products, and a whole lot better than ultra-processed foods. That's for sure. So the one study, it was in a dietary reference, it was in a Journal of Nutrition, that's what it was, indicates dietary habits of a large population of our nation consistently fail to meet the minimum nutrients that they need. So study concluded that without dietary supplements and other ways of supporting nutritional intake, many Americans don't achieve the minimum recommended nutrients for that day. Now, when I say minimum, that means you're surviving. You're not thriving. You're staying stable. Thriving is when you do it and grow and grow. But if you're just surviving, that's just getting by. You're not getting a disease. So, for example, vitamin C. We can give you vitamin C, and that could prevent scurvy. Vitamin D helps prevent rickets. But it's the minimum amount to not get scurvy. Doesn't mean you're healthy. Just means you don't have scurvy. I want to be at a healthy level, and that's what we need sometimes more. Now, a lot of you say you're tired. Well, Dr. Joe, I'm tired all the time. And I have the research. I'm going to do a show soon on long COVID because I'm seeing so much research on long COVID, and so many of us are suffering from long COVID. And the number one side effect is fatigue. In fact, I met somebody, I was selling something on Facebook Marketplace. Guy came to my house, and he looked at me, and he said, "You're Dr. Joe." I said, "Yeah." He says, "Oh, my God." He says, "I've been wanting to meet with you for so long. I can't believe I'm meeting with you." And sure enough, he had COVID, and since then he's been disabled. He can't function. He has to sleep half the day. He's just wiped out. He says, "I've got long COVID, and they're working with me a little bit, but I'm just not where I want to be." And I said, "Do you have acid reflux?" He said, "Oh my gosh, yes. How did you know that?" I said, "Well, I'm finding a lot of people with long COVID have acid reflux. I don't know the causation, but I know the correlation. And if the stomach is up against the diaphragm, we may have to pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm so that you can start digesting food and absorbing nutrients." And he looked at me, and his eyes lit up, and he said, "That makes perfect sense. This acid reflux started when I had COVID. And it hasn't gone away, and the doctors give me medications for it." And we said, a lot of those will prevent you from absorbing calcium, B12, iron, and magnesium. Oh my gosh. And this light bulb went on in the guy's head. Suffering, unable to work, disabled. And nobody sat and discussed with him what we need to do to get the nutrients in his body and then get them absorbed. That's the other thing. It's not just what you ingest, it's what you digest. You got to absorb it. So medications can prevent you from absorbing nutrients. Acid reflux, diarrhea, constipation, Crohn's, colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. All these things can prevent us from absorbing the nutrients. Even if you're eating it, you may not be absorbing it. If you're in pain, how many of you have pain right now? Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches? A lot of you. About 80% of you, actually, statistically. If you have pain, pain is exhausting. And pain uses up a lot of the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients to deal with the inflammation and pain. So if you have pain, it's not just annoying. It can be depleting your body of vital nutrients. So if you're in pain, the number one treatment for back pain, most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain is chiropractic care. Chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment. So if you have any type of pain, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctors. So come in. We'll do an evaluation. We'll check your nervous system. We'll check for pinched nerves. We'll check the cause of the pain. We'll check your digestive system. We'll do a nutrition evaluation. Let's get to the cause of your problem. Every week I see patients, and every week patients say, Dr. Joe, why didn't I do this sooner? Dr. Joe, I've been meaning to come see you for a blank time. One person the other day said, Dr. Joe, I heard you speak 35 years ago at my high school. He said, and I always thought I should go see that guy as a patient. And here's 35 years later, the guy comes in to see me. So come see us. Let's get to the cause of your healthcare problems, not just treat the symptoms. drjoe.com is the website. You can book it right online. Normally, the first visit is $940. We've reduced that to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. X-rays alone are going to cost you more than that anywhere else. And you get my doctors working with you and me. So drjoe.com, book your appointment right now. If you're ever in a car accident, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. As soon as you're in an accident, come see us. Don't go to some shoddy clinic or some shoddy lawyer. Don't go for a phone call. Oh, come see this doctor, see this lawyer. No one's going to call you to set up an appointment. It's a scam. So many scams right now, and that's one of the biggest ones. So drjoe.com, book your appointment right now. Oh, the supplements we're talking about, Super Green, Essential Source. We're going to talk about vitamin D later. All of those are on our website, drjoe.com. We ship the next business day, so it's really easy to get them. Or come pick them up. Pick them up at our offices, save yourself some shipping costs. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole there with fatigue, but if you're feeling exhausted, a multivitamin, something with B vitamins in it, something with especially B12, can maybe get you over that hump. Taking a multivitamin provides those essential water-soluble B vitamins that you need, because the B vitamins help you release energy from your food, helps turn the food into energy. And the released energy can now fuel your cells and give you the power that you need to carry on your daily activities. B vitamins also encourage healthy organ function, and it also encourages proper brain function. You need B vitamins to make the brain work. And so many people, especially with long COVID now, but generally speaking, our brains don't work like they used to. We're tired all the time. We're forgetting things. We're messing up in our jobs, in our family, in our relationships. And a lot of it has to do because your body's deficient in nutrients. Had a couple of months ago, and they were just at each other's throats. And they've been married for like 35, 40 years. And he sat down with me and said, Dr. Joe, says, I think I'm going to get a divorce. I can't deal with this anymore. And so I did a hair analysis on her, and it turns out she was very high in selenium. And one thing selenium does at high levels can cause mood swings and fatigue. So I did a hair analysis on him. He was high in selenium. Now, that's very rare to be high in selenium, extremely rare. So I said to him, do you use dandruff shampoo? Nope, we don't. Just regular shampoo. So the only way you're going to get that much selenium is if you're eating large amounts of, let's say, cow's liver, or you're using a dandruff shampoo, which has selenium sulfide in it. So after a few visits, I said, let me smell your hair. And I did, and it smelled like sulfur. I said, you said you don't use dandruff shampoo. He goes, no, I use blank, brand name. Well, sure enough, that's dandruff shampoo. Had selenium sulfide in it. And we had to do an analysis because they had gone to the hospital, they had done the blood work. Nothing could figure out why she had this chronic fatigue syndrome. So we do investigations so deep. And when I found that out, I knew I was right. And he said I was wrong. And I thought, well, I don't know what else it could be. I was right. So we always want to find out, do you have the right amount of nutrients in your body? Too much or too little? In his case, it was too much. A toxic level of selenium. So, but vitamins, generally speaking, help the body utilize nutrients, break down vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, energize the cells, feed the mitochondria, which generates the electricity, and then the body functions more efficiently. So there's no reason why almost everyone shouldn't be taking at least Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Now, we're going to talk about vitamin D coming up soon and some other ones too. But that's the minimum. That's the starter kit. And it's a powder. It's a scoop of each. I take a scoop of each. I just shake it up with some coconut milk, almond milk. I had a fig tree this summer, so I had tons of figs. I froze them. I'll throw it in a blender with some figs and a half a frozen banana, whip it up. But either way, get it into your system. That's the most important thing. All right, I'm going to have to go to a break real soon. If you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com. We got a lot more to cover, so don't go anywhere. A lot more to cover. drjoe.com. You can send me questions, order supplements, book appointments. It's really easy. Follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito, all one word, at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post health tips every single day. We get about 5 to 10,000 followers a day joining us because the health tips are so pertinent and so important. So at Dr. Joe Esposito, make sure you do that. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. We post at least twice a week, sometimes more than that too. But the place you want to go is drjoe.com, and you can reach out to me there if you have any questions. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We'll be right back. Bam. You have questions?
We do.
Okay.
For starters, what are your thoughts on Kachava?
Kachava. I don't know what that is, so I can't give you an opinion on it.
It is, I was just looking it up.
Okay.
It looks like a meal replacement and complete multivitamin, antioxidants, and kind of everything just packed into one single serve.
Don't have an opinion on it. This is what I use. If there was something better out there, I'd be using it. But I've researched for 40 years. I've never found anything better than Super Greens, an essential source, as a starter kit. Yeah. What else?
There was another question in regards to that. Why don't we put Super Greens and Essential Source in one bottle?
Garrett, why don't you answer that?
It's expensive.
It's expensive. Yeah.
It would more than double the price. It's more plastic. It's a lot heavier to ship.
Yeah, and some people, I like mixing it up like this because some people, for example, Super Greens has wheatgrass in it. Now, it does not have gluten that I know of. We've tested it. There's no gluten in it, but it is a wheat product. So some people are hell-bent on the fact, I will not eat anything that has wheat. Now, this is organic wheatgrass, very different than wheat berries, but they wouldn't be able to take it. So that's why we separate them out. And it's just easier this way. If you want to mix it together, which I do when I travel, I just take half of the stuff out, mix it together, shake it up, and then you have your own mixed together. So there you go.
You remember the flight attendant getting
Yes.
stopped with the baggie of? Yeah, we had one order of we had one batch of Super Greens mint that came out very, very light in color, almost
Yes.
white.
Uh-huh.
And that was a pretty fun story written in by one of our
Yes.
customers.
Flight attendant got stopped. What's the powder? What's the powder? We're going to test it. She's like, no, promise it's supplement. And it was, of course, it's fine. But it does travel well. I pack it together. I travel everywhere I go with it. So, but it's amazing, and it's so inexpensive. There are products not even a fraction as good as this for 2 and 3 times the price. So we try to keep the price as low as we possibly can for you. So, yeah, just mix them together yourself.
The only other thing we've tried is looked at doing capsules, and it's the capsules are too large. You take too many,
And it's way too hot, more expensive. It's going to triple the price. Yeah. So that's why we do it. And also with the Super Greens, you have 3 flavors. Some people like the mint, some people like the hemp, some people like the plain. So how would we mix it together? Do we do all mint? Do we all do plain? So that's why we separate them. All right, what else?
So one of the viewers has used to go to a Chinese medicine doctor.
Uh-huh.
They recommended not donating blood. What might be the reasoning there?
I don't know. If you're healthy, your body regenerates the blood and it replaces the cells. So I don't understand the rationale behind it, but I don't know. Can't give you that answer. Very seldom I'm stumped.
So this person says they don't eat fish, but they do eat eggs every day and a handful of walnuts.
Okay.
You still recommend taking an omega-3 supplement?
Yes. Because walnuts are the ALA form. It has to be converted into DHA and EPA, which is the usable form of the omega-3s. And also the eggs, as soon as you cook them, you're destroying a lot of the omega-3s. And if they're not organic, they probably don't have hardly any omega-3s in them anyway. So unless you're eating organic raw eggs, which you shouldn't do, by the way, that's still not enough for the omega-3s. So, yeah. Keep eating the walnuts, absolutely. I wouldn't eat the eggs, but eat the walnuts and then take the omega-3 supplement as well. So, nope, wrong one. I have a bottle of it here somewhere. All right, what else?
What are your thoughts on magnesium threonate?
Threonate, yeah.
Okay. Well, there's an R in there.
Yeah, threonate, yeah. Okay. It's good. I like to take a magnesium with multiple different types of magnesium in it because different magnesiums do different things. Some relax muscles, some help cells work better, some help as a coenzyme. So I'd like to take one that has a mixture of several of them in there. So that's what I would suggest for a magnesium supplement.
And then for the male hormone supplement DHEA, could that accelerate hair loss?
Probably not. Because it's going to help the testosterone building. The testosterone is converting to DHT. What you want to do is keep the testosterone levels healthy and slow down that process. Now, as you get older, it's going to be a conversion, absolutely. But taking things like cruciferous vegetables, which we put in here, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, that helps. Now, you're going to have some hair loss. I understand that. But no, it shouldn't be a problem. So.
Best food or fruit to eat for gut health and cleansing?
Well, Super Greens and Essential Source, absolutely. We have a 21-day cleanse on our website, drjoe.com. If you really want to do a serious cleanse, you can do a 21-day cleanse. Great way to jumpstart weight loss, great way to clean out the liver. So that's on the website. But the best foods to eat for everything you just said is fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Now, I eat a few nuts and seeds, not a lot, because I put on weight really fast if I eat a lot of nuts and seeds. So I might have a handful a day, maybe 2 handfuls a day, and that's about it. So fruits and vegetables, raw fruits and vegetables, big salads, apples, peaches, pears, bananas, pineapples, mangoes, kiwis, starfruit, watermelon. That's great. And that fiber is going to help clean out your colon. What else?
Do you have any collagen recommendations?
Your body doesn't need collagen. I get this question all the time. Collagen is made up of amino acids. Proteins are made up of amino acids. So if I eat a carrot or a steak or a piece of tofu, it goes into my stomach. The acids unravel those proteins because they look like balls of yarn and then chop them up into what's called amino acids. There's 20 amino acids that we use in our diet. Those amino acids are then sent to the liver, reassembled, and sent out to the body. The problem with collagen supplements is many times they use the cartilage of the bones from animals, and that's where the animals store heavy metals like mercury and lead. And so if you're eating an animal-based collagen supplement, I wouldn't recommend that. Same thing with bone broth. I never recommend bone broth because it can be toxic, and I don't recommend animal products anyway. Now, if you're eating a vegan collagen supplement, basically what it is, it's amino acids, plant-based amino acids. So why don't you eat the plants and digest them better? The problem isn't you need more collagen. The problem is you need the stomach to break down the proteins more efficiently to give you the amino acids to create the collagen. So take Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes every day with your cooked meals. If you have acid reflux, come see us and let's get that fixed, and then you probably won't need the collagen anyway.
Now, let's say I eat healthy
Okay.
and I exercise,
Okay.
but I have a really hard time sleeping or falling asleep.
Listen to my podcast. Fall right to sleep. No. It could be a digestive issue. If the stomach is up against the diaphragm, you're not breaking down the protein into amino acids to produce tryptophan, which becomes serotonin. Serotonin becomes melatonin. Melatonin helps you sleep. So it could be a digestive issue. If you have trouble falling asleep, what you can try to do is stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nerves speed you up. Parasympathetic nerves slow you down. So take a warm towel. Not a plug-in heating pad. I don't want electricity around your abdomen. But take a warm towel. You can dip it in hot water, or if you have a microwave, don't use it for food. Wet a towel, heat it up, lay it across your abdomen. That's going to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which will help slow you down and get to sleep. Meditation, of course, works well. And again, I'd have to look at your diet. Are you doing caffeine, stimulants, caffeine, bromine, theobromine, isotheobromines? These are all stimulants to the body, which can be preventing sleep too. So I don't have a quick answer for that. It could be pain. It could be digestive issues. But you might want to come see us and let's do an evaluation and find out where the breakdown is.
But you don't recommend taking melatonin.
I don't like taking melatonin. If you take melatonin, eventually your brain says, I got plenty of melatonin. I don't have to make any more. And then when you stop taking it, the brain says, I don't make it anymore. You told me not to make it. It's like a bad relationship. You told me not to do this, and now you're telling me to do it again. It's not healthy. So I'm not a fan of melatonin in a supplement now. I don't like the way I tried it. I don't like the way it makes me feel anyway.
What would be a good protocol for fatty liver?
Dr. Joe's 21-day detox. Absolutely. If you have fatty liver, jump on that detox protocol. Start it. Do it for 21 days. It's great. It's relatively inexpensive. And then after the 21 days, listen to 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition and So What Can I Eat? And then stop poisoning your liver. 21-day cleanse is going to be the quickest jump start for you.
Now, what exactly is fatty liver?
It's fat in the liver. It really is. Now, when I went to school, we were taught that if you have fatty liver, you're an alcoholic, and that's that. Nothing else caused it. Now we're seeing fatty liver in children as young as 6. And a lot of it has to do with high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup, the fructose has to be converted into glucose. And in the process, you create uric acid, and uric acid gets into joints, but also irritates the liver and causes the liver to lay down fat. And then uric acid prevents nitric oxide production, which opens up the blood vessels, so you're not getting good circulation through the liver, so the fat builds up. But if you slice open somebody with fatty liver, it looks white and fatty. It really does. I've done it on cadavers, and I've seen it. So. And one guy didn't pay me money one time. No, that's a different Italian story. So no.
Is the 21-day cleanse safe for diabetics?
Yes. What else?
That's it for this segment, guys.
Right.
Drop some more questions in, and we'll take a break in another 24 minutes.
Yeah, Garrett wants me to work. I can tell. All right, we're ready for part 2. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. What we're talking about today are the side effects of taking supplements. So if you're taking supplements, that can become a big issue. And you can take too many of them, too. You can overdose on supplements. So that's why you always want to follow the directions. Now, there are certain times where I will recommend to myself and to other patients to take more. So a good example is going to be vitamin D, which I'm going to circle back around to in just a second. But the recommended daily allowance for vitamin D is about 600 international units a day, at 400 to 600. That's not enough. Those studies were done a long time ago, and it was based on making sure you have enough vitamin D so the vitamin D can absorb calcium and get it into the bones, and you can build healthy bones. That was it. New research shows that vitamin D does a heck of a lot more than that, including immune function, brain function. It affects the digestive system. It affects everything. So the recommended levels haven't been updated to the new research. I personally take between 5,000 and 10,000 international units a day. Now, we have a supplement, Dr. Joe's Vitamin D. It's on the website, drjoe.com, and I take 5 drops to 10 drops a day. I don't measure it exactly. I just kind of go bloop, 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 and I take that. Now, when you get your blood levels done for vitamin D, which you should, every time you get your blood work, get it tested, what you want to look for is 60 to 80 nanograms per milliliter in your blood. The recommended level of vitamin D is 40 nanograms per milliliter in your blood. That's not enough. We need to get to 60 to 80 to see the beneficial medicinal reaction that you're going to get from vitamin D. So vitamin D is vital. I take it every day. We're going to cover this in a second again. But if you take vitamin D3, not D2, by the way, D3, you also want to make sure you have enough K2 with it, vitamin K2. Vitamin D3, like we said, does a lot of things. And one of the things, it absorbs calcium. Now, if you're taking vitamin D3 without K2, the calcium can build up in your blood vessels, in your heart, and can be extremely dangerous. So recommending vitamin D3 without K2 is not best practice, we call it. Now, if you're eating a good plant-based diet, you're eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, you're going to get vitamin K1, which will convert into vitamin K2. You'll be okay. But I take vitamin D3 with K2 every day. And I take 5 to 10 drops a day. You should too if you're an adult. If you're a child, if you're half the size of if you're 80 pounds, 50 pounds, maybe take half the dose. You have to take probably, I'm going to guess, 100,000 international units a day for a long, long time to get vitamin D toxicity. Could it happen? Yes, but I've never seen a case of it ever in all the patients I've ever consulted with. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Now, if you get your blood work done, it's too much. I did have one patient recently say his vitamin D levels were too high. I said, well, cut back on your intake then. But that being said, go off on a tangent again here. I have been to the labs where they draw lab work, and there's only about 2 big labs that do it all, basically. And I walked into the place, and I was shocked at the level of worker intellect. Let's leave it at that. And many, many times I've had people have blood work done, and it comes back with a positive test, and they get the blood work done again, and everything's fine. The doctor said, oh, it was fixed. But I just heard a patient recently tell me that they came back as HIV positive, and they had no reason to think they were HIV, and destroyed this guy. And he had it done a couple of weeks later, and the doctor says, no, there's no indication of HIV. They must have mixed up the lab. So I like to do a follow-up lab if something's wrong, just to make sure. Just my little 2 cents on quality of work. It's not like when I was a kid, and it really isn't. So we're talking about multivitamins. It can give you energy because you need B vitamins to release the energy from the cells and to activate the mitochondria. It's really important for cardiovascular health too. Eating a good diet, again, nothing beats a good diet. Following a heart-healthy lifestyle, including exercise, stress reduction. But a multivitamin for heart is really important. So when you're deciding on a brand, you want to look for something that is quality. You want to look for something that's been vetted or researched by somebody who knows what they're talking about. And that's why I recommend Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source for the multivitamin. Because I vet my manufacturers, I check their credentials, I make sure everything's being processed properly, and so it's a very, very low risk of getting junk. Now, there's a lot of junk out there. My German grandfather came over from Germany in about 1922, big mountain of a man, and he was a carpenter. He had a certification in carpentry, brilliant, brilliant man. Didn't speak much, not the most charming guy you ever met. But one of the things he taught me was Josef, which is Joseph in German. Josef, always buy the best. It's always cheaper. And he had a few tools, not a lot, and he cleaned them every time he used them. He hung them out. He dried them. He took really good care of everything he owned. He was poor, but he worked his way up as an immigrant. He's the classic American success story. And always buy the best. It's always cheaper. And I've learned that, and you probably have too. Now, sometimes you could skimp here and there, but usually the best is going to be the better. And with Super Greens and Essential Source, it's already the best, in my opinion, and we keep the price as low as possible. So that's why I recommend that. If you're doing Super Greens Essential Source, it's probably less than $2 a day for both. And that's a whole lot cheaper than a cup of coffee, and the results are just, in most cases, off the chart. So drjoe.com. You can buy them there. So make sure you get a quality product. The nice part is I vetted it for you. Ask me. I'll tell you. If it's a product we don't carry, I can tell you where to go and get it in most cases because I know the manufacturers. Another benefit, side effect, of taking supplements, the right ones, is going to help your memory. And if you find yourself struggling, especially with long COVID patients, but just in general, multivitamin could be beneficial because memory becomes a big issue. And I certainly don't, I worry about that. As I'm getting older, I've run into people that have had Alzheimer's, and I've run into people that start to lose their memory, and it scares me. Because my mother always said she doesn't want to be a vegetable. She goes, if I'm done, I'm done. Let me go. Let me die. And I never understood it. When I was a child, I thought, no, I want to do everything I can to live forever. But I realized that when I start seeing people that start to lose their memory and their minds, and it's so painful to them, especially when it's starting to happen. They know it's happening. You can't do anything about it. Well, many times there are things you can do about it, which is important. Vitamin B5, cofactor that facilitates acetylcholine, and that helps with memory. So that's why a good B complex is something you want to consider taking. B6 and B9 work together to produce serotonin and dopamine. They make you feel good. They make you focus. They bring pleasure to you. B12 is a step further. It supports the health of what's called the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath, your nerves have a covering around them. So if you ever looked at an electrical wire, it has a rubber coating around it. Well, that allows the electricity to flow more efficiently and not, kind of dissipate. Well, the myelin sheath is really important. And if you don't have enough B12, you can't produce healthy myelin sheaths, so the nerves can't carry electricity, and that can affect so many different aspects of the body. B6, B9, B12, B2 support cardiovascular health. They balance something called homocysteine, especially B6. Homocysteine, and by the way, when you get your blood work done, you should get your homocysteine levels checked. Homocysteine allows methionine cysteine to create homocysteine. Then homocysteine is an indicator of how much cholesterol is actually going to be stuck to the artery walls. And so that's why if you're eating a high meat-based diet, you're going to get methionine and cysteine, converting it to homocysteine. And homocysteine is an indicator of the risk of heart disease. So you want to keep your homocysteine levels low. Vitamin B6 helps manage and keep that, other B vitamins too, keep that homocysteine level in check. So you start to think about, wow, I eat a cheeseburger. I eat a salad. How does that become toenail? How does that become liver? How does it become eye tissue? How does it become hair? Well, it's the vitamins and minerals and the cofactors and the enzymes that take it, break it down, then reassemble it. And if you don't have all the parts, the body can't work. And I see it. I know I've told this story before. If I'm in a grocery store and I'm looking at somebody who's really sickly. They're in one of those little scooters, and they got the oxygen mask on. They're morbidly obese, and I look in their basket as to what they're buying. And they're buying alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, processed food, ultra-processed foods, chips. And then you look at somebody who's in good shape, who's healthy, even though they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And inevitably, they're not eating those foods. They're eating the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts, the seeds. They're exercising. They have social life. They're exercising their brain. Almost always they're taking supplements. I get questioned all the time. Say, Dr. Joe, how does your brain work the way it does? How do you pull this stuff out of thin air? I remember I met my friend Larry about 25 years ago. I was giving a lecture, and it was a place called Life Grocery in Marietta, Georgia. It's not there anymore. And I was speaking, and he was just shopping there, and he stopped, and he said, and he tells the story. He told us he's dead now, but he told the story. He said, he walked up to me afterwards. He says, I watched you for an hour. He says, you didn't have any notes. And you didn't stop speaking, and you answered questions, went right back to what you were talking about. How do you do that? And I said, well, I take supplements, blah, blah. And anyway, Larry eventually became my best friend. But he always told that story. He said, I've never known anyone that can just talk for an hour with no notes and just be able to process and answer questions and be distracted and tell jokes. Well, that's a healthy brain. And I don't have a better brain. I have a traumatic brain injury. I was hit by a car when I was 10 years old. They thought I was dead. They covered me up on the side of the road. So I have severe traumatic brain damage. And so as long as you take care of your brain can function at a very high level. It's not a secret. I don't have any secrets. I'm telling you exactly what I do. So Super Green Essential Source, that's kind of my secret right there. Can't imagine not taking those every day. Now, can you take too much? Yeah, but you're going to have to take maybe 5-10 doses to make it too much. I take a dose once a day, and if I have a busy day or if I have a lot going on, I'll take a second dose later in the day. You're going to be fine at those levels. No one has ever had an issue. And then you got to make sure you're eating the right foods. You got to make sure you're getting the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts, the seeds, because these are important. People ask me too, well, Dr. Joe, can I just live on Super Greens and Essential Source? No. It doesn't have fiber in it. It doesn't have phytonutrients in it. It doesn't have enough fat in it. You need other macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and you want to get fiber as well. So it has a lot of the nutrients in it. A lot of it is just dried fruits and vegetables ground up, but you want to make sure you're getting other nutrients as well. And if you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, and just type in the search bar, so what can I eat? Very simple. So what can I eat? And I was at the studio one day, and there was a studio, there were little booths, and the booth was open, and I jumped in there, and I just talked for an hour. Breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, what to eat, what not to eat, cleaning out your pantry, holidays, raising kids. It's all covered there. And if you go to my website, by the way, drjoe.com, we have over 4,000 hours of content. And it's absolutely free at this point. We may charge in the future, but right now it's absolutely free. So it's an encyclopedia. It's a whole library of information. And all you have to do is type in what you're looking for. I want to know about ADD. I want to know about depression. I want to know about diarrhea, constipation, male sexual dysfunction. Just type in what you're looking for. Chances are we have content on it. So I'm happy to do that for you. You can send me questions through the website, drjoe.com. Happy to answer your questions for you. So whatever you have a health question, send it over to me. The supplements we're talking about are available on the website, drjoe.com, or come by our offices. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Come by, say hi, love to meet you. And you can pick it up. It'll save you some shipping costs. I mean, I'm trying to make it as easy as I can, folks. The best I possibly can. Make it affordable, make it easy, make it compact, make it simple to understand. You have to take a little initiative if you want to get well and stay well. If you want to get a workup from us, if you want us to check the nervous system, digestive system, your diet, make an appointment to come see us. drjoe.com, we can book it right online. Now, we can do virtual meetings as well, because I know a lot of folks listen to this show all over the world. So you can go to drjoe.com, book an appointment. We can set up a virtual consultation as well. Happy to do that for you as well. I've been in practice almost 39 years, and I'm more excited now than I was 39 years ago. I love helping you guys get well and stay well. Can't make promises, can't make guarantees, so don't come in and say, you promised me. I've never promised a patient anything. But I'll do everything I can within my power and the powers of my doctor to try to get you well and keep you well. So drjoe.com, we'd love to have you as a patient. So I kept telling you I was going to circle back around to vitamin D. Vitamin D is the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. And I can't imagine why you're not taking it every day. Now, you should, in a perfect world, be out in the sun 10 to 20 minutes a day, maybe a short sleeve shirt and shorts. And if your skin starts to feel a little warm, that's when you know you've had enough sun. Get out of the sun. I've covered this many times in other shows. Too much sun, dangerous. Little bit of sun, vital. And in fact, if you can, close your eyes and look up at the sun and let the sunlight go in through your eyelids. And that's amazing to get the brain working. In Indian Ayurveda, which is the study of Indian medicine, to keep it simple, they called it sunning, where you'd close your eyes and let the sun go into your pineal gland and activate your third eye. And so, but don't do too much sun. Get out of the sun is the most important thing you could do. And if you could do that every day, that'd be great. But if you live in an area where there's seasons, big problem. Because in the winter, no matter how much sun you get, you're not going to get enough UVB rays to interact with your body. If you're on cholesterol medication, you need cholesterol to interact with UVB rays. If your cholesterol levels are really low, you may not be getting enough cholesterol to produce the vitamin D. So I take a supplement every day. And again, I'm not out in the sun every day. I'm out as often as I can be, but I'm certainly not out there every day. So I think you should too. So if you have hair loss, especially in women, could be linked to vitamin D deficiency. So that might be an issue. Muscle pain, especially in children. You talk about growing pains. Is there such a thing as growing pain? No, it doesn't hurt to grow. But many children are deficient in vitamin D. A study reported 71% of people grappling with chronic pain were found to be deficient in vitamin D. And they found that vitamin D deficiency triggered aches arising from stimulation of what's called nociceptors in the muscles. Nociceptors cause pain. They're nerve fibers that cause pain. And they're firing off the nerve fibers because the vitamin D wasn't there. They revealed high-dose vitamin D supplements relieves the aches in deficient people. Another study, 120 children suffering from vitamin D deficiency and having growing pains, showed that a single dose of vitamin D relieved the pains by 57%. So when you have growing pains, think about it. It may just be simply a vitamin D deficiency. Now, I talked a little bit earlier about long COVID, and I'm going to do a whole show on this. But what the research is showing now, long term, because we have enough months and years going by to study it, is that a lot of the long COVID is affecting vitamin D synthesis. There's genes in your body that take whatever it is, the raw materials, and create vitamin D out of it. So the vitamin D synthesis is being affected by the viruses damaging the genes. And we think, hypothesis, is that the virus is so smart that it doesn't want you to manufacture vitamin D because vitamin D increases your immune system and kills off the virus. So it makes sense, the virus, if it has this amazing skill, that it can weaken your body's ability to utilize vitamin D so that the immune system gets weaker so the virus can multiply. So I strongly advise that you take vitamin D, especially if you've had COVID and you're really tired. Now, the best thing, of course, is get your blood test done. Get a blood test done. Look at your vitamin D levels. You want to be 60 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. That's the ideal. That's the sweet spot right there. If you're below that, supplement. If you're at that, whatever you're doing, keep doing. If you're above that, you're taking too many supplements, but that's pretty rare. But it's so often ignored as a potential reason for fatigue. Low vitamin D levels could potentially cause debilitating fatigue. And we do all these tests, and we get you on medications, and you've got fibromyalgia, and we've got chronic fatigue syndrome, and many times it's something that costs you literally pennies a day. So that's the nice part about it. And make sure you have vitamin K2 with it, which our supplement does. Vitamin D deficiency, and chronic fatigue can come from pain too, and I know I covered this earlier, but if you're in pain, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica, that's exhausting. If you ever had pain even just for a few days, you know how tiring it is. Poor people with chronic pain are just wiped out. Then you have things like vitamin D deficiency, perhaps long COVID and affecting the DNA, the genetics in the body of producing that. You're not getting enough B vitamins. You're not getting at least a multivitamin every day. You're not eating fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. Your life is shot. So many people come to me and say, Dr. Joe, my life is miserable. Well, I understand that. Let's get the nervous system working. Let's get the digestive system working. Let's get your diet straightened out. Can we promise results? No. But can we usually get great results? Yeah. So if you have a health issue, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestion, nutritional, make an appointment to come see us. The Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctors. So drjoe.com, book it right now. We can get you in this week. And normally the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for my listeners to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Don't be like other patients and say, Dr. Joe, why didn't I do this sooner? I hear it every day. Why didn't I do this sooner, Dr. Joe? Why did I suffer for so long? And my answer is, I don't know. We're here. Been the same place for 38 years. Come see us. drjoe.com. We'd love to be your doctors. So, and we can do virtual meetings too, by the way. If you can't make it to see me in person, we can always set up a Zoom call and we can set a virtual meeting as well. So we're talking today about the side effects of supplements of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. Now, vitamin D reinforces the bacteria-fighting mechanisms and keeps your immune system strong. If you fall sick, especially in the winter, could be a vitamin D deficiency. Research shows that high-dose vitamin D supplements every day minimize the risk of respiratory tract infections. So if you have that chronic cough, if you have fluid in the lungs, or pneumonia, of course, COVID, I'm not saying it's a cure. I am saying it can help keep the immune system strong, which is really, really important. Depression. You feel depressed? Maybe an underlying symptom of vitamin D deficiency. I've had countless patients over the years, and they come and say, Dr. Joe, I'm just depressed. Why? I don't know. So we fix their digestive system. Let's get the stomach breaking proteins down into amino acids to produce neurotransmitters so the brain can work. Let's get the vitamin D levels up. Let's get the bowels moving at least once a day, preferably twice a day or more, not 10 times either. Let's get you on some fruits and vegetables. Let's get you on super greens and essential source, B vitamins, and let's see if we can fix it. I tell my patients this. Let's get the nervous system, digestive system, and diet straightened out. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, so what? You're pretty much where you started. Waste a little time, maybe a little money, but it's certainly worth a very low risk, very high reward. So I don't know why everyone doesn't just follow this advice, because it's simple, it's easy, it's cheaper than what you're doing right now, and the chances of increasing the quality and quantity of your life goes up dramatically. And I hope, my dream is that someday that everything I'm teaching you guys just becomes mainstream. A lot of it has. We talked last week about heart disease and hydrogenated oils and margarines. And I reported on that 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And then a study came out, and I'll tell the story again in case you didn't hear it. A couple of weeks after I reported on it, it was on CNN, and they said margarine probably the number one cause of heart disease in this country because it's a hydrogenated oil. Anyway, I won't go into that. That's a lecture last week. And my mother called me up, and she says, you were right. I said, I know, Mom. And she says, I don't know if you're a nut or a prophet. I haven't figured it out yet. And I said, I don't know, Mom, maybe a little bit of both. But let's get your body well. Stop suffering. It breaks my heart. I mean, I physically feel it when I see people suffering, and I know that there are things that could be done. Can't promise results, but I know there are so many things that could be done that they're not doing. And every day, I had a patient come in this week, and she had acid reflux. They had her on a medication for acid reflux, and she's getting worse, and the doctor said there's nothing she can do about it. I talked about taking your stomach and adjusting it and pulling it down away from the diaphragm, and then what happens? And she got all teary-eyed, and she said, that's exactly what I'm experiencing. How come my other doctors didn't tell me that? They don't know. They're not holding out on you, I promise you. I mean, maybe there's a couple of jerk doctors out there, but most doctors really want the best for their patients. And so they want to get you well and keep you well. They just don't have that skill. I don't know how to do surgery. If you came to me and said, I need my appendix removed, I don't know how to do it. But I do know how to keep you healthy so maybe your appendix doesn't get sick. Folks, if you have any questions, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can send me questions through the website, search the website. Anything you're looking for, just type it in the search bar. Go to the store, look at all the supplements we have. If you have any questions, let me know what your questions are. Follow us on social media, at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day. You're going to get so many health tips. Just a minute a day. That's it. If you don't like it, unfollow me. Subscribe to our newsletter, at Dr. Joe Esposito. We send that out maybe once a week. We send a lot of good information there. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service, Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Folks, get on the website, drjoe.com. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in. All right. What do you have? What do you have?
All right. I take about 6 to 8 different types of supplement capsules a day. Is it harmful to my organs?
I don't know what you're taking, so I can't answer that question. So,
In a similar light, the person originally asking about Kachava asked if taking that and Essential Source together would be overkill. Me personally, after looking at it, they kind of follow the same idea of multivitamin plus a bunch of proprietary blends for circulation, and it's a lot like Essential Source.
okay.
They do add some greens like we do to the Essential Source, but not to the full blown effect of Super
Hours,
Greens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I would say after looking at the ingredients that Super Greens and Essential Source is a little bit more packed for punch. Without knowing how much Kachava costs, I can't say either way. But I would say both are probably safe to take, but a little overkill depending on what you're looking to get out of the supplements.
Yeah. Again, I don't know the product, but I trust Garrett, and so I'm assuming what he said is true. So, yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Which supplements do you recommend for menopause and weight gain because of menopause?
Okay, so go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in a search bar women's health issues. Okay, listen to the show we did on women's health issues because Super Green is an essential source, of course, absolutely. I would not recommend estrogen regulator if you're going through menopause. Estrogen regulators for men and childbearing year women. That's it. If you're perimenopause and menopause, don't take it. Men should be taking it because it helps prevent testosterone from converting into estrogen, especially as we get older. But listen to that show, and then you'll get all the information because that's a whole lecture in itself, and I have it all there on the website, drjoe.com. What else? Women's health issues.
How do I order the 21-day cleanse?
drjoe.com. Just type in 21 day, and it'll come up in the search bar, and you can order it right there. You'll save money doing it because for 21 days, you're going to eat they list of tons of foods you can take and the supplements. It's cheaper than almost anything you're doing right now. So people actually save money when they do 21-day cleanse than what they would normally spend in 21 days. So what else?
Can you eat a lot of fruit if you're diabetic?
You can, but monitor your blood sugar because, again, the fiber is the key. And go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in diabetes, and it'll explain that to you. The fiber slowly pushes the sugar through the colon and gives you a slow release of sugar. If you're drinking fruit juice, not a good idea for anybody, including diabetics. But you really want to monitor your blood sugar and make sure it doesn't spike. But in most cases, the fruit is pretty stable for you, especially if you're eating it with other vegetables, too, to give you that fiber bulks. But you want it to monitor yourself because everybody's a little different.
I don't know why it reminded me, but I just found a study on fruit smoothies that there's a chemical in bananas that's higher in bananas than anything else, and it destroys the nutrient availability of other fruits.
I saw that study too. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So, first time I ever heard that before. And I never heard it before or since, so I don't know the validity of it. But it could be. Yeah, bananas are not natural, by the way. Bananas are man-made. You know, they don't occur in nature. They never occurred in nature. We hybridized them over the years. And the one we're eating now, it's called something. It may not be around for long because there's a disease that's attacking the bananas we eat. And it's like the Rossignol banana or something, whatever it is. And there's no way to stop it. So bananas, we may be the last generation to eat bananas.
And the bananas we eat now are clones of each other?
Yeah, they're kind of hybridized from other bananas. So the bananas we eat today, like corn. Corn's a man-made thing. It doesn't occur naturally. So. All right, what else you got?
This person's seeing a lot of advertisements for coffee replacements via mushroom drinks.
I like them.
Same.
Yep.
I took one this morning, or had one this morning.
Cool.
Any clue as to why excessive gas in the evening and at night? Doctor says chronic constipation. Was the guess after a good colonoscopy?
Okay, well, the gas is usually due to food not being broken down properly. Now, if you're going to eat a lot of beans, you're going to eat a lot of onions, that can cause gas, of course. But if your digestion isn't working properly, We have a great product called Dr. Joe's Intestinal Formula. Happen to have it here. This works great to clean out the bowels. I say take 1 the first day, 2 the second day, 3 the third day, 4 the fourth day. Take it in the morning with a lot of water and find out what amount works best for you. That'll get the bowels moving. And then you want to get your low back checked because the nerves in the low back control the bowels. You want to fix that if there's a pinched nerve there. If the stomach is up against the diaphragm, you want to get that adjusted as well. So if you have the capability to come see us, let's check it out. Because gas, unless again it's from onions or garlic, is going to be a symptom of something being wrong. So if you're not available, we can always set up a nutrition consultation over on Zoom. But the intestinal formula is great getting the bowels moving. So what else you got?
This person was taking vitamin D every day with K2. Blood work came back and said they were high in D.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor told him to cut back to 2, maybe 3 times a week. Is that helpful?
Yes.
How do you keep your appendix healthy?
Came in a jar next to my bed. No. The appendix is a little sac, looks like a little balloon that hangs off your large intestine. And we used to think it did nothing, so we'd remove it. It was no big deal. Now it turns out it does a lot of things. It stores extra bacteria. Good bacteria. It can fight cancer. So it's really important. So as long as you're eating a good high-fiber diet and the bowels are moving at least once a day, the appendix should be fine.
I want to recommend Super Greens, an essential source for my grandmother. Would she need to consult her doctor first before taking the supplements?
Probably not, but she could. Got something caught in there. My concern is the doctor doesn't know much about supplements. And again, I don't know her doctor, but a lot of doctors say, well, I don't know anything about this, so I guess it's okay. The only concern I would say is if she's on blood thinners, it does have vitamin K in it. And vitamin K1 helps clot the blood. This is what I tell people to do. You go to your doctor and you say, I'm going to take Super Greens, an essential source. This is my new protocol. I'm going to take it every day. And you have to take it every day because that establishes the new norm. Monitor my blood and let me know if we need to change our medication if you're on blood thinners. Almost always, the doctor comes back and says, even though this has vitamin K and that's supposed to increase your need for blood thinners, people say your blood is so much thinner, we can probably cut back on the blood thinners. So she can tell a doctor she's taking it and just monitor the blood to make sure there's no changes. I've never had a negative effect ever in all the years we've been using it. So, but I got to tell you that ethically.
Okay, 59-year-old woman here with chronic cough and low energy, likely due to long COVID. Would you recommend nitric oxide?
Sure. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels, increases circulation to the body. I take it every day. Nitric oxide is wonderful, and as we get older, our nitric oxide levels drop dramatically. This has citrulline in it. Do not take arginine as to increase nitric oxide. Arginine is many reasons not to take it. This is a much safer version of it. I take it every day. I take about 4 a day. Yeah, why not? And B vitamins. And then you might want to come see us if you're available, set up a consultation. Again, long COVID is tricky, and I'm putting together the protocols that I use. I had long COVID too, to get the body back to normal again. What else?
Just to jump ahead, nitric oxide okay on an empty stomach?
Yes.
Okay, and then this person says they put all kinds of things in their smoothies. Is there a point to putting too many things in that would be bad for your gut?
As long as they have fruits and vegetables, I don't see any problems with it now.
The comment earlier that we were making about the study on bananas basically just says don't put bananas in your smoothie if you're using other fruit. That was pretty much it.
That's what I heard too, yeah. So.
We're still not 100% on the validity of that, but the study looked promising, so can't hurt.
Right.
B12 or B complex?
B complex.
Why?
Well, B complex, B12 is in B complex, but you also have B8, B9, B1, B2, B3, and you get everything put together because each B does something different. So B12 is vital, but so are the other ones too. So do the complex. Happy to have it here.
And that is all we have for today.
Good call. You guys are awesome today. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Please follow me on all platforms at Dr. Joe Esposito. That's my request from you. I give you all this information, my gift to you. I do ask that you follow me on all platforms so we can build up our following. And that's it. I think that's a fair trade. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Threads. I think we're on Threads. We have a Threads count anyway. Any questions, drjoe.com. Hopefully I'll see all of you either live or on a virtual meeting real soon.